Meeting में
Oh,
बोलिराख्नु भएको थियो कि
I think
फोनमा।
I think I was muted. Yes, yes, I'm so sorry. Okay, we can start now. Thank you everybody for joining this exclusive session with our guest, Mr. Nabin Poudel, a student at Harvard University. He's a BA Economics and Government student. And in today's session, he will be sharing with us his academic journey, his classroom experiences, and student life at Harvard. Talking a little about his academic background. He has an academic experience at Harvard Undergraduate Association. He has also been a finance team representative. He completed his high school from Gandaki Boarding School on General Science. He has also prepared and delivered ESL and science lessons to 100 students from grade 6 to 10. His top 3 skills include growth strategy, language teaching, and English proficiency. And that's about his introduction. I did a little digging about our guest today, and if there's anything that Naveen sir would like to add to this introduction, you can go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, host, for the kind introduction, and I'd also like to thank Ednep Abhiyan for, first and foremost, having this platform, and especially for economic student, and also secondly for inviting me to this session with you all. Right now, I feel like I'm just speaking to a bunch of names. So if you're able and willing, I'd also appreciate if you could turn your video on and mute your audio. Applies to everybody.
No video to make this session a little more interactive. I think everybody can turn their videos on if you're comfortable with that. Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll get the introduction. Say, do we have like a language, preferred language, or I can do like a mix of English and
Yeah,
Nepali.
you can do a mix of both.
All right, sounds good. It has been a long time since I last spoke to like a larger crowd, so I'm just getting my footing, everybody. Tari मेरो नाम चाहिँ Nabin. I am from Kaski, Pokharaबाट like 40 kilometers away. And मेरो schooling चाहिँ grade 4 देखि 12 सम्म I went to Gandaki boarding school. After grade 12, I came to Harvard for my undergraduate studies. Well, unfortunately, my first year is in Nepal, but I did my classes over Zoom. So due to COVID, this was saying I came to Harvard and I'm graduating in December. So I let's say July almost. So December, I graduate with a degree in economics. A bachelor's degree in economics and government भनेको basically political science, so double major गरिरहेको छु, and a language citation in Spanish as well. Also, I think I have prepared some slides, so I would also love to share some slides if that's a possibility. Excellent. I'm trying to get my slides. Slides are visible, sir?
I can see a black screen, but I think it's trying to come into oh, okay. No, unfortunately I can't. I think you have to try again.
Okay, let me try again. All right, this should work now.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Alrighty then. So yeah, I'll say I'm studying economics and government with a language citation in Spanish. र आजको सेसनमा चाहिँ I'm mostly going to talk about my experience as like an economics student here at Harvard, like a little bit. अनि अहिले चाहिँ because I'm in my final year, I'm also working on a senior thesis. So I'll also share like some initial findings and initial steps of my thesis. That could be helpful to people who are thinking about thesis for their bachelor's or master's studies, and we could talk more about like thesis writing process and economics research. Uh, I also wanted to put out a disclaimer. Uh, I know I have like a lot of involvements about Harvard University and like middle school, college, everywhere, but opinions in this presentation and in this meeting are just mere personal opinions. I mean, it is my experience, so do not take it as like official, formal information. There is like you should visit official websites of like colleges and universities and departments for official information. And also, so I'm just studying undergrad in economics. I'm not sure how many of you are studying masters, but I just wanted to flag that undergrad or graduate level studies say जहाँ पढे पनि अलिकति different चाहिँ हुन्छ नै. So your experience might be different from mine as well. Um, so to start, economics at Harvard, say, it's the most popular major. I'm not sure about the exact percentage, but definitely more than 10% of students at Harvard study economics for their bachelor's. And we have like, leading faculty members. My first economics class was taught by the professor used to be the chair of economic advisor for President Obama. So many other, leading faculty say Harvardमा हुनुहुन्छ. अनि हाम्रो मेजर like mode of instruction भनेको चाहिँ lecture र discussion sections हुन्छ. So introductory courses-हरुमा, intermediate जुन चाहिँ mandatory courses-हरु छ, they mostly tend to be big lectures from like anywhere from like 200 to 600 students. अनि so we have like weekly lectures plus discussion sections भनेको चाहिँ, so that big lecture is broken down into like small sections of like 12 to 20 people. Every week, त्यो सानो सानो sectionहरुमा चाहिँ we go to like discuss the ideas with each other. So lecture based मात्रै नभएर it's also about like sharing your ideas with others, presentationहरु गर्ने, readingsहरु गरेर चाहिँ you just like figure out what the other person is thinking, what you're thinking, what the common ground is. So it also provides an opportunity for more like individual feedback and personalized instruction को लागि पनि sectionहरुमा, so we get those opportunities. And next is also that there's a heavy focus on math, statistics, or econometrics. And I think the most important thing is that it promotes independent thinking and research. So when I complete my undergraduate study at Harvard as an economics student and like I graduate, I probably won't know everything about economics. I probably will have forgotten my, let's say, maybe like specific lecture ma ke padeko thiए भनेर. But what I will come out with is like independent research skills, right? So if I'm presented with a new economic concept, I have the skills necessary to like read the papers, to understand the statistics behind the new paper, to understand the theory, to understand the research behind those papers, and then grasp a new concept. And I feel like I've also been given enough skill to like investigate a new topic on my own and to write and present on that as well. So about American colleges are, say most of them are liberal arts colleges. So that's a major focus of liberal arts college that, they give you, that is like research or writing skills. But Harvard economics specific pani, that's what I would say the major takeaway is. Not that I'm like an expert on a particular topic, but that I graduate as somebody who can independently, pursue economics, right? Who can like find out new papers, read those papers, understand the concept, and like skills necessary for reading and writing in economics. So more specifically, say about courses, कस्तो course structure हुन्छ भन्दा चाहिँ you only need to take 11 courses in economics to have like a standard economics degree. So for over 4 years, we have to take 32 courses in total. So out of those 32 courses, 11 courses have to be economics. The rest, like 21, can be any courses in any other department. That's why मैले चाहिँ double concentration or double major गर्नुको कारण चाहिँ economics को 11 वटा courses भयो अनि political science को चाहिँ I took like 11 or 12 courses and I took 10 other like extra courses and I could still like have दुईटा major, right? Uh, for like a standard economics degree, we are required to know some algebra or like pre-calculus. We have to take a statistics class. We need to take introductory microeconomics and introductory macroeconomics, like two separate courses. We also have to take intermediate micro and intermediate macroeconomics classes. Econometrics is required. And we take one research tutorial. That's where we learn how to like, read in economics, how to write our own research paper or like research articles. And we have to take 3 other electives. So for me, say I took एउटा चाहिँ data course लिएँ मैले economics for electives. I took another class in corporate finance. And the other elective that I took was international macroeconomics. So basically exchange rate and interest rates, and like, debt and like stuff like that. Honors को लागि चाहिँ you have to take 15 courses. त्यसमा चाहिँ in addition to like algebra, you have to take calculus. So basically, differentiation, derivation, and integration, and multivariable calculus as well. And you have to take either 2 more electives or write a senior thesis. So I'm doing the honors track. I took calculus and multivariable calculus, and I'm writing a thesis for honors. So let's move on to my senior thesis now. The focus of my senior thesis is labor force participation of female immigrants in the US. So basically, America foreign born population, and also like immigration is a big topic in the US right now. And there has been and my thesis is like a cross section of labor economics, immigration economics. So currently, US population 15% is like foreign born, which means like they were not US citizens when they were born. So they're born outside the US and they immigrated to the US later on. But then 18% of the labor force is foreign born, which means like total population 15% of the foreign born. So, but like labor force 18% foreign born. So there is something about immigrants that makes them more likely to be in the labor force, right? And then immigration economics चाहिँ focus भयो भन्दा there is this whole topic in economics about immigrant assimilation, right? It's also a political rhetoric, like immigrants आउँछ हाम्रो countryमा अनि like they don't assimilate भन्ने खालको sentiment पनि छ US मा, but there is this whole field that studies immigrant assimilation. त्यसमा चाहिँ there are like various ways of studying immigrant assimilation. One of them is cultural assimilation. So basically, we look at like fertility rates. So like home country ma fertility rate कति थियो, for example, अब developing nations हरूमा चाहिँ fertility rates higher हुन्छ. So if the people from those countries move to the US, what happens to the fertility rate, right? Are they still like giving birth to like a lot of children like in the home country, or like is it closer to America? And English language skills, right? Have they acquired English language skills since they immigrated to the US? Or like how has their proficiency changed? If they are more proficient in English, that means that they have better assimilated into the US society. अनि अर्को भनेको चाहिँ labor market assimilation. त्यसको लागि पनि we can measure labor market assimilation through like various variables. One of them is labor force participation. र अर्को चाहिँ wages. I'm focusing on wage for my study. So income is the focus of my study, right? So the question that I ask in my study is, how do female immigrants assimilate into the US labor market? So I'm not looking at cultural assimilation. I'm only looking at labor market assimilation, and I'm only looking at female immigrants. Is it different from male immigrants? There have been a lot of studies about assimilation of male immigrants, Americana, but not about female immigrants. That's why this was like a research gap that I identified, and that's the research gap that I'm trying to fill with my thesis here. And I'll be comparing, female immigrants to wage with US-born female wages. So yeah, so the motivation for my study was that female immigrants are more than 50% of total immigrants, right? So if there is like 14 million, 10 million immigrants in the US, more than 5 million are female. Ani LPR भनेको चाहिँ green card. So legal permanent resident र naturalized citizen हुने rate चाहिँ it's higher for females than for males. So there is more female immigrants who are getting like who are becoming citizens, who are getting green card than like male immigrants at a higher rate. And in past studies on this subject, I've only focused on male immigrants. So I'm trying to focus on female immigrants. And there is also different factors that affect assimilation, right? Gender norms and skills level and education, which is different from male and female immigrants as well. So before I move on to data, let me rephrase my research question. So what I'm trying to look is Americama भएको female immigrants को wages or like income, how does it change over time, right? So एउटा immigrant चाहिँ first time अमेरिकामा आयो भने they have a specific wage. So यदि ऊ चाहिँ 10 वर्ष अमेरिकामा बस्यो भने does it increase or not for female immigrants, right? यदि ऊ 15 वर्ष अमेरिकामा बस्यो भने does it increase even more? If that person is in the US for 20 years, like does it increase? And if it increase भएर चाहिँ does it get closer to US born हुन्छ नि यहाँको native Americanहरूको चाहिँ wage-सँग चाहिँ does it get closer or not, right? Does it converge or not? So यदि female immigrants को income चाहिँ converge भयो भने चाहिँ we say that they have assimilated economically in the US labor market. Tara, even after like 20 years in the US, there is a wage gap between female immigrants and like native females, American females, immigrant female ko bich ma pani. Even after 20 years, there is a wage gap. That means that they have not assimilated into the US labor market. So there is a various like there are various factors that affect assimilation, right? Education level huncha, work experience huncha, gender norms huncha. So we kind of like measure all of that. We put all of that into the equation and we see कसरी चाहिँ assimilate भइरहेको छ वा भइरहेको छैन. And because I'm trying to study assimilation over time, right? So I'm trying to study like 20 years, 30 years, some of assimilation. I'm assuming that everybody here has some economics background. So this is like alikati specific terms. So panel data भएको भए चाहिँ that would be ideal, right? Panel data भनेको चाहिँ if we had a data on a single person, like this वर्षको time period, right? So if मेरो data चाहिँ 20 years सम्म repeat भयो भने it's a panel data. So if we had a panel data on like everybody for like 20 years, it would be very easy to do this study because we could see their wage every year. Every year income चाहिँ we could study and we could see the trend. But there are very few and there are limited studies that have panel data. So we don't have a panel data with like immigrants and like native, like सबैजना भएको हामीसँग एउटा rich panel data चाहिँ छैन. So panel data नभएको भएर चाहिँ I'm using cross-sectional data. So cross-section भनेको चाहिँ like एउटा specific time period मा, right? एउटा like त्यो panel data लाई if you freeze हुन्छ नि त्यो movie लाई freeze गर्दा you see a picture, right? So movie चाहिँ यदि panel data भयो भने त्यो movie लाई pause गर्दा जुन हामीले स्क्रिनमा देख्छ that's cross-sectional data. So मैले चाहिँ 5 वटा specific cross-sectionको data use गरेर चाहिँ if you stack them on top of each other, it forms like panel data sort of, right? So एउटा 5 वटा pictureहरू चाहिँ side by side राखेर एकदमै fast move गर्यो भने it looks like it's moving. So you kind of feel like it's a movie, right? So say 5 वटा cross-sectional data लाई चाहिँ stack गर्यो भने we kind of get like a pseudo panel data. So I'm using 5% sample from the 1980 census in America, 5% sample from the 1990 census, 1% sample from the 2000 census, 1% sample from the 2010 census, and the American Community Survey of 2019. So in 2020 ko use नगर्नुको कारण चाहिँ because of COVID, right? So COVID ले गर्दा there was huge change in the labor market, and it would take a lot of work to like account for like the COVID effects in the labor market. That's why 2019 American Community Survey भनेको चाहिँ it's also a 1% survey. So basically America 300 million people छ भने they will call like 30 million, sorry, not like 300,000 people every year, and they collect data from those people. So यो सबै पाँचवटा सेन्सस डेटालाई स्ट्याक गरेर I removed all the male observations. So like working age female population लाई मात्रै स्ट्याक गर्दा there were almost I think 11 million observations in my data set. And I ran a very simple linear regression on this data. So next month I'll probably talk about my research design, right? So the dependent variable for my research design was wages. And I did a log of wage because अब wage चाहिँ अलिकति distorted हुने भएको भएर त्यसलाई linear बनाउनको लागि चाहिँ I took natural log of wage for I भनेको चाहिँ individual, right? So wage for any individual I in the year T. So T भनेको चाहिँ time. So like 1963 मा I भन्ने individual को wage कति थियो त त्यसको log चाहिँ it's the dependent variable. अनि independent variable चाहिँ there is a cohort dummy. So this is the most important part of my study. The 5CT, this is cohort dummy. So this is basically based on the 5-year period in which an immigrant arrived in the US, right? So the 1960 देखि 1964 को बीचमा आयो भने चाहिँ they get 1 for the so dummy variable भनेको चाहिँ 1 अथवा 0. It's a binary variable. So if somebody arrived between 1960 and 1964, उनीहरूको चाहिँ यो dummy variable 1 हुन्छ. If they arrived between 1965 and 1969, they will be assigned 1 for that year, and they will be assigned 0 for every other year. So basically categorize गर्ने के 1960 देखि 1964 सम्म को आयो त 1965 देखि 1969 सम्म को आयो त भनेर we categorize people based on their year of arrival in the US. अनि यो चाहिँ किन गरेको भन्दा as I said earlier, we do not have a panel data, right? अनि even though we are stacking all of these cross-sectional data, यो 1980 मा भएको 1980 को sample मा भएको मान्छे चाहिँ we're not sure if the same person is repeated in the 1990 census. But cohort गरे भने चाहिँ सँगै US मा आएको मान्छेहरूको ग्रुपहरू चाहिँ we're just assuming their characteristics will be similar. So instead of taking one person, we're taking like groups of people. So 1960 मा अमेरिका आउने मान्छेहरूको group in this sample versus this sample versus this sample, right? So we're doing like a cross-sectional study of small cohorts within each cross-section. अनि so X भनेको चाहिँ it's like a vector of socioeconomic factors, basically like उनीहरूको age, उनीहरूको marital status, उनीहरूको education, and stuff like that. But epsilon भनेको चाहिँ it's just like error factor that has been error factor मात्रै भइहाल्यो. So this is the research design. I know it's like a new topic, cohort method is kind of complicated. The first time I read about it, I could not understand, but I'm happy to answer questions about it later. I'm also happy to send you research if you're interested in like labor studies, if you're interested in like economics of immigration. I'm happy to send you research material like research papers. My main work is based on like Borjas' work, George Borjas. So yeah, I'll send more information about that later. So this is like very preliminary result. I know the table looks very messy because this is just preliminary result. I've not created beautiful tables. I'm also using R, by the way, for all of the coding. So Stata, it's kind of getting phased out. And R has been like rising as well. And Stata, you have to pay money to use Stata. R is free. Excel mata गर्ने कुरा भएन. अनि I think अरु त्यो SPSS or something त्यो चाहिँ I have never seen being used in America these days. So if you're planning for like PhD or like masters in the US, you should definitely learn Stata R. So यो चाहिँ मेरो 5वटा so using this equation, I had to run the regression 5 times for your 5 different years, right? So 1980 को एउटा regression, 1990 को अर्को regression गरेर 2019 सम्म I had to run 5 regressions. And each column is the results of the regression for that specific year. So 1980 मा हेर्यो भने चाहिँ what we see is everything else held constant. 1970 को cohort मा अमेरिकामा आउने immigrants were earning So because this is log, we can use percentage. 7% more than natives in 1980. And in 1980 cohort, so 1980 cohort भनेको चाहिँ who recently entered the USA in 1980, they were earning 11% less than natives, right? So 1980 मा अमेरिकामा आएको female immigrants-हरूले चाहिँ in the same year 1980, they were earning, because of the minus sign, they were earning almost 11% less than Native American women. So immigrants women were earning 11% less than Native American women. So हामी त्यस्तै हेर्दै गयो भने चाहिँ 1990 मा आएको immigrants-हरू चाहिँ in the same year 1990, they were earning 25%. So अब अलिकति log भएको भएर we have to do some calculation. So it will be somewhere between like 24 and 30%. But for general idea, they're earning 25% less than Native women in the same year. And just like 2000 ma America ma aeko immigrant women were earning almost 27% less than Native women in the year 2000. So यसरी हेर्दै गयो भने चाहिँ what we see is that your gap चाहिँ बढ्दै गइरहेको छ, right? So 1980 मा आएको they were earning 11% less in the same year. 1990 मा आएको they were earning 25% less. 2000 मा आएको they were earning 27% less. And 2010 मा आएको they were earning 36% less. And 2020 मा आएको they were earning 39% less. So I do not fully trust these results. I know there is something that I might have missed, but the trend still applies, right? So 1980 मा जति पनि immigrant womenहरू आयो, they were earning only 11%. The wage gap was only 11%. But अहिले चाहिँ immigrant women are earning less and less as like in their initial years since arrival, right? उनीहरू अमेरिकामा आउने बित्तिकै चाहिँ उनीहरूको earning चाहिँ यहाँको native women भन्दा चाहिँ कम भइरहेको छ. So wage gap is increasing. So this is across cohort, right? This is like 1980 मा आएको मान्छे versus 2020 मा आएको मान्छे. So this is across cohort study. अर्को चाहिँ within the same cohort चाहिँ के भइरहेको छ त? So 1980 मा आएको मान्छेलाई चाहिँ what's happening to them over time. So 1980 मा when they first came, उनीहरूको 11% less wages थियो. Within 10 years, they're already earning 2% more than Native women. In 2000, almost like similar wages. In 2010, they're earning 8% more than Native American people. In 2019, मा आउँदा चाहिँ immigrant women wages 12% higher than native wages. So like Native American women wages, which means like they have not only assimilated, they have surpassed, right? उनीहरूको wage चाहिँ increase भएर native female wage भन्दा पनि बढी भइरहेको छ. And this is controlling for उनीहरूको age squared divided by 10, उनीहरूको level of education and उनीहरूको marital status. So यो सबैलाई control गर्दा पनि we see that immigrant womenहरूको चाहिँ over time same cohort को wage चाहिँ बढिरहेको छ, but newer and newer cohort जति recently आइरहेको immigrants-हरू छ उनीहरूको wage gap चाहिँ बढिरहेको छ. So they're probably earning less than native female. So this is just preliminary result of my study. I'm still working on it. I'm still like, and यसमा चाहिँ the major factor is I told you that मेरो observations are 11 million थियो, but if you add all of these, I think we'll probably get closer to like 7 million observations. So त्यसमा भएको like 3-4 million observations चाहिँ drop भएको छ यो regression बाट because of selection bias, right? यदि हामीले logarithm like if we are using log as our dependent variable, log of 0 is just like negative infinity, so it just gets dropped. So हामीले चाहिँ के observe गरिरहेको छैनौँ भने labor market मै नभएको उनीहरूको income नै नभएको femaleहरू चाहिँ they are not included in this regression table. So selection bias चाहिँ भइरहेको छ के. कसरी selection bias भइरहेको छ भन्दा the people who choose to work, there is already something about them that makes them special. And the people who choose not to work, we cannot observe their wages. So your selection bias को like address गर्नको लागि चाहिँ I also have to use another like Heckman sample selection model भनेर that will counter for the selection bias. And depending on the direction of selection bias, like are like only overqualified people doing job or like underqualified people doing job, होइन? The selection bias like solve गरेपछि चाहिँ we will have like a better result. But this is just my preliminary result. I know there's a lot of numbers and stars, but feel free to ask me questions about it. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. It could be about like studying economics. It could be about my thesis. It could be about like data. It could be about R. So yeah, I'm happy to take questions for the next, I guess, 30-ish minutes. I'm not sure how long we have left.
हेलो सञ्जीव सर आरदिए ठिक्क संस्कृति को उता बत्ती गएर ऊ अफलाइन भयो जस्तो छ त्यही भएर हामीसँग सञ्जीव सर पनि हुनुहुन्छ ओके म पनि छु अनि हामी हामी जस्ट यतानिर जेनरल क्युएनए भनौँ न हामी अब गर्छौँ है मैले चाहिँ ओके म भिडियो अन गरेँ है म रेडी थिइनँ अघि ओके यहाँ हामीसँग अहिले 28जना पार्टिसिपेन्ट हुनुहुन्छ है इफ हजुरहरूलाई क्वेसनहरू केही छ भने जस्ट यु क्यान ड्रप द क्वेसन इन द च्याट बक्स है अनि त्यसपछि इफ हजुरहरूलाई चाहिँ भनौँ न बोल्नु मन छ भने जस्ट लेट मी नो है हामी अनम्युट गरिदिन्छौँ किनभने मैले यो लिङ्क चाहिँ पब्लिकली सेयर गरेको भएर यहाँनिर अलिकति भनौँ न थोरै सिक्योर गरेको छ मैले त्यही भएर चाहिँ जस्ट लेट मी नो अनि थ्याङ्क यू नवीन फर योर प्रेजेन्टेसन है थ्याङ्क यू फर दिस सेसन टु जस्ट हामी लास्ट टाइम चाहिँ विज्ञान दाइको सेसनमा हामी भेट भएको थियौँ र त्यसपछि चाहिँ यो सेसन जस्ट आज भयो है मलाई चाहिँ के बुझ्नु मन छ भने भनौँ न इज लाइक गण्डकी बोर्डिङ स्कुलदेखि चाहिँ हार्वर्डको एउटा काइन्ड अफ एप्लिकेसन प्रोसेस है हो त्यो बारेमा चाहिँ अलिकति एउटा एक्सपिरियन्स होइन त्यसपछि मतलब किन हार्वर्ड चुज भनौँ न किन हार्वर्ड भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो सँगसँगै अरू अरू पनि मतलब युनिभर्सिटीमा एप्लाई गरेर छ छैन त्यस्तै हो त्यो बारेमा हल्का फुल्का इन्साइट
Sure. There's also some questions in the chat. I'll be addressing them as well. Hey? So Gandaki boarding ma चाहिँ म 12 सम्म पढेपछि चाहिँ well, it's a little bit shocking now तर मैले चाहिँ त्यो साइन्स पढेको थिएँ अनि साइन्सबाट इकोनोमिक्समा टोटली शिफ्ट भएँ अनि साइन्समा पनि I think I got the highest GPA हाम्रो गण्डकी प्रदेशमा अनि so like Prime Minister Oli did award me. So it's a little bit shocking like science-बाट economics को shift. And in Nepal, let's say for a few months, I'm not sure how many of you have heard of PEA, but I did go there. I took classes. And I didn't feel like doing engineering at all. It was not my calling. And he had already gotten into Harvard like a year before that. Like my closest friend, I mean, grade 4 देखि 4 कक्षादेखि 10 कक्षासम्म सँगै पढेको साथी चाहिँ he had gotten into Harvard like mabanda ek barsa agadi. And he was like my biggest motivation. He was like the one who pushed me to apply to colleges in the US. So application process, so it's a very straightforward process for undergraduate studies. There is like Common App. You just go to log into Common App, you fill your profile, you write essays, you get recommendations, you submit your grades, you take SAT. अनि सब्जेक्ट टेस्टहरू पनि पहिला चाहिँ त्यति बेला सब्जेक्ट टेस्ट थियो, also there's just SAT अनि TOEFL or IELTS if your college requires it. That's a very straightforward process for undergrad. And undergradमा चाहिँ like at places like Harvard University and other liberal arts colleges, you do not have to apply for like a specific major. Like म चाहिँ economics नै पढ्छु भनेर चाहिँ apply गरेको थिएन. I said something like social studies मैले apply गर्ने बेलामा किनभने यहाँको चाहिँ social studies भनेको चाहिँ it's a very flexible major. But you can change it like I have एउटा semester बाँकी I can select म भोलि गएर I can still change my major to something else. And if I have already taken the required courses, I can graduate with a new major like in December. So it's pretty flexible in that sense. अनि so मैले चाहिँ PE मा त्यो इन्जिनियरिङ क्लासेसहरू ड्रप गरेपछि चाहिँ ललितपुरमा एउटा स्कुल थियो. So I went to that school, अनि त्यहाँ चाहिँ there were some alumni from New York University अनि MIT को दाइहरूले चाहिँ त्यो स्कुल रन गरिराख्नु भएको थियो. So I taught there for like a good year, 9 months चाहिँ मैले पढाएँ. I taught English, I taught mainly English for like students from grade 6 to 10. That was a really good experience for me. त्यति बेला नै मैले कलेज अप्लाई गरिरहेको थिएँ. So because I had mentors, MIT graduates, NYU graduates, so they helped me a lot during the application process as well. अनि मैले एसएटी पनि त्यही बेलामा आई थिङ्क दसैँ र तिहारको बिचमा चाहिँ म घर गइसकेको थिएँ. फेरि काठमाडौँ आएर एसएटी दिएर फेरि पोखरा फर्किनु परेको थियो. And yeah, I applied, I got my recommendations, I got my grades and everything. And I applied for financial aid. A lot of colleges waitlisted me because they could not give me financial aid, but like Harvard, they have like need-based financial aid. So if you if you need financial aid, they'll give you financial aid, like they'll cover everything. So I got a full ride scholarship or like financial aid to study at Harvard. So first year मेरो कोभिडमा भयो अनि त्यसपछि I came to the US for मेरो second र third year यहाँ पढेपछि चाहिँ I went back to Nepal. I took a year off, so मैले third year पछि चाहिँ 1 वर्ष ग्याप लिएँ. त्यति बेला चाहिँ I worked with हाम्रो honorable Sumana Shresthaको secretariat for like a few months. When she was the Minister for Education, I worked with her team. That was like one of the best experiences I've had so far. We tried to accomplish a lot. We were in the process to, get a lot of things done, but things happened. Rajniti bhaihalyo. So 3 महिनामा चाहिँ we were out, but I'm proud of the work we did at त्यति बेला. I'm proud of the few data work I did as well for the team. त्यसपछि चाहिँ last January I came to Nepal. I came back to the US for मेरो final year. अनि final year को चाहिँ मेरो 7th semester सकियो. But yeah, चाहिँ graduation मेमा मात्रै हुन्छ. So मेरो अस्तिको मेमा चाहिँ I did not get my degree, तर graduation ceremony मा चाहिँ I participated with my friends. So I have like मेरो profile picture चाहिँ it's like मेरो graduation को त्यो gown लगाएको profile picture right now on Zoom. So December मा चाहिँ I'll actually get my degree. So I have one more semester. यो semester मा चाहिँ I have to finish writing मेरो thesis. I have to take one more class for my Spanish citation, one more for मेरो political science. And I've to answer like a related question on the chat, there is a question about like scholarship for agriculture economists at Harvard or like any other colleges. So I'm not sure if it's about graduate level, like PhD, master's ko लागि ho, or undergraduate. So undergraduate method, there is no specification. Like I'm just studying general economics. I've taken classes in corporate finance, classes in like international macro, like data science. Like there is no specific. I'm not graduating with like as like an agricultural economist or like macroeconomist. Undergraduate generalist matrai ho. If it's for PhD, I would like go through the website. So undergraduate it's very easy. Common App ma gaera, like you can apply to 20 colleges at the same time through Common App. But PhD ko every university has like its individualized process. So I'd contact the department, and then PhD ko scholarship banda pani I think it's mostly stipend, and they expect you to like work. They expect you to like teach undergraduates. So that's what I know about PhD so far. But yeah, I'd like contact the university and check their websites directly if it's for like specialized programs for PhD. Yeah. So त्यो चाहिँ युनिभर्सिटीकै वेबसाइटहरुमा available हुन्छ. They don't have like agriculture economics at Harvard specifically. If you go to economics.harvard.edu, you can send the website. This is the website for the economics department at Harvard. They have 19 different areas of specialization. It's visible there. I think that's true for every college, like every university as well. And I'll answer one more question before handing it back to you. So the question is like cohort of 2020 in 2019. So that is a very keen observation. Whoever that was, that's a very smart observation. Well, So basically, your 2020, I just did it for purpose of like uniformity. It's like 1970, 1975, 1980. That your 2020 method, there's only data up to 2019. So if I go to earlier, ACS 2019 भनेको छ. So even though I'm calling it cohort of 2020, it's actually like 2019 cohort. So I'm just naming it 2020 for the sake of uniformity. So yeah, this is people who migrated to the US from 2015 to 2019, even though it's being called 2022 cohort. And दाल भातमा sorry, हार्वर्डमा भात खान पाउँछ कि अफ कोर्स पाइहाल्छ नि. So masters in economics in the US.
Am I audible?
I'm not sure about that, eh?
Am I
So
audible?
looks like अलिकति सानो छ volume, but yeah.
Okay. Okay, now does it sound better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have questions from a few people that I would like to ask you. If your presentation slides have ended, then I would like to go forward
Yep.
with the questions.
Sure. Do you mind if I stop sharing the presentation? I know somebody like wanted to see the
Yeah,
table
sure.
earlier. Yeah, I'll stop sharing for now, but if you need to see any of the slides, please send a text.
Okay, for now, we have a question from Yuvraj Puratokins. He asks, can we get financial aid in Masters in Economics, the USA? I'm just a graduate in BBA and interested to pursue Master in Economics in USA. Can you please explain the procedure in joining Masters in Economics, best university?
As far as I know, Harvard does not offer master's degree in economics matre. They offer PhD. I think that's true for a lot of colleges. Like a lot of universities just offer like PhD, but there is like masters in professional degrees. Harvard master, there is like masters in public policy, masters in public administration, and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunately, I cannot give you like a specific college name that offers masters. As I said, unlike undergraduate, master's the PhD, might say every university has a different like standard for scholarship. Like they have like different system for scholarship. So I forgot the name, but there is like a portal to apply to masters. Undergraduate like is a common app, so there is something for masters that you'd look at. But yeah, it's best to like research individual university. Like, let's say you go to like websites like college ranking or go website ma you could find like masters like best and you have to visit individual university go economics department go website and see like the programs they offer, like the professors they have. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Is there a course of agriculture resource economics at Harvard? This question is from Gordon.
Yeah, I think I've tried to answer, but yeah, agriculture. So Harvard there is no like agriculture specific courses in economics as far as I know. But I would again check the economics department go website. They say they have 19 areas of study. So I'd like they probably have like an Excel sheet somewhere that you can download, and there that talks about like all the professors and like their specialization. But as far as I know, there's no agriculture here.
Okay, you can start sending more questions our way. Meanwhile, I can ask a few questions from my side. So I was not available a while ago because the electricity went down and I had to come back. So I think I missed quite a few things while you were explaining in the slides. But anyway, I would like to go ahead and ask the questions. So I wanted to ask you what career opportunity in USA and Harvard specifically are available after completing a BA in economics for students?
Yeah, so Harvard, most people after they complete their economic studies, they work in like a corporate job नै हुन्छ धेरै जस्तोको चाहिँ. So they either like work in consulting or finance or investment banking. Some go to policy like researchहरू, and some go to graduate school immediately after. A lot of people also like go into journalism, like writing, like articleहरू लेख्ने, right? So तर mainly चाहिँ yeah, it's like mainly finance, consulting, and investment banking. Yeah.
Okay. Which among these courses you think tops the list? Like, yeah, in terms of popularity.
I'd say, I think they're kind of like the same level. Like, you know, in finance one, because it covers a lot of like areas, right? Like hedge fund, private equity, stock trading, everything. So it's a big sector. Consulting much in non-economics पनि गइरहेको हुन्छ. So probably finance or consulting would have to be the top choice for people.
Yeah, I think we have one more question. I think two more questions. Yes. This is from Yuvraj. He says, as per your information, it might be better if I finish my master's degree here and join PhD there. So it's more of a statement, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wants to know if it's like better to complete masters in Nepal and then join, or come here for PhD or like do masters here as well. As far as I'm aware, PhD ko चाहिँ first few years will be like master degree kai work. But I think it depends on your background. You've mentioned that you were a BBA student, so I'm not sure how familiar you were with like econometrics, like calculus, or like and like statistics मा चाहिँ कति familiar, so I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how much research experience you have. So there might be some colleges who will like universities who will like accept you, and you can like do like statistics, econometrics सबै US मै आएर and then like do a PhD immediately after. But I think if you want to like build like a strong profile for PhD, and if you've only done BBA before, it might be like a good idea to like do masters so that you learn at least like you take advanced level courses in economics and like econometrics and statistics so that it'll just help your profile better. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think that answers your question. And I think a lot of students, they join different courses like BBA, BCom, BBS, and stuff. And then later on, they go on to realize their interest in economics, and they want to like basically shift their focus from the field they are in right now and go into economics. So majority of the questions are coming from that side. Let's take a few questions now. Okay, so can you name the school located in Lalitpur where you mentored English? Curious about the alumni or NYU and MIT. Yeah.
So yeah, it's called Bloom Nepal School. Bloom Nepal. So it's a Lalitpurma, like I forgot, Samago भन्दा अझै माथि जानुपर्छ. Samago भन्दा अझै पारि. So it's kind of far from the ring road.
Is GRE compulsory to study for economics in the US?
I think for a lot of graduate programs, you have to take GRE. Recently, COVID को बेलामा some colleges went test optional, so GRE optional गराएको थियो होला. But yeah, like so I don't speak for every university, right? So, but as far as I know, you are required to have GRE or like any like GMAT or mainly GRE, standardized test score for grad school.
Yeah, I have already done masters in economics here. Can I join masters again there in the same field?
Yeah, I don't see why that would be a problem if your university accepts you. If you join PhD, you're probably gonna have to do like master level coursework again. You could probably get like a few waived, but you're probably gonna have to do some level of master work. So, and I don't see why like you can't do it. Undergraduate level, most of the colleges don't let you do your BA like degrees. You can do double major, but you can't do your BA degrees. But I think master level, saying there is some freedom in that.
So we have one more question. Which course can I join there in the US? if I completed my master's degree in MBA Finance here in Nepal?
Well, the next would be PhD. You could also go for master, other professional degrees like public policy, public administration. Um, I'm not sure if you can do MBA again. Probably not because it's like a standardized course. Um, but yeah, like aru khalko master, so it will be open for you. PhD will be open for you. Uh, and to build I'm just answering the next question because they're right next to each other. And
Yeah,
if
yeah, sure.
for like a strong PhD profile, I think what they look in you is like that you have strong analytical skills, like strong mathematical skills, research skills. So like, having written a thesis or like having done some research work, um, like having taken some course in mathematics, some course in like calculus, business math, that'll help. But again, that depends on university that you apply to. Some of them will like waive some of those requirements, and you are able to take those courses once you get to the US. Some of them will require you to have taken those before.
Yeah, I think that answers your question. If anybody else has any more questions, please put them in the chat box. And to make it a little more interactive, you can unmute yourself and also ask the question directly. Is econometrics a good major / elective to pursue? This is from Acharya.
I'm not sure if you're talking about it in the US or in Nepal, but econometrics is I would combine econometrics with, like, if you really want to do econometrics, I would just combine it with data science, and I would go on the data science track. So rather than just like focusing on like economics, metrics, if you were just able to learn like, Python, SQL, and just like data structures, so a little bit of computer science as well. Um, AI, machine learning, they're all dependent on data scientists. So but then again, if you just want to do econometrics, like theoretical econometrics, it's also a good fit. Like, I think recent Nobel Prizes were in econometrics, like Joshua Angrist and like some other David Card, I think. They were econometricists who got Nobel Prize in economics. So, but yeah, if you want to combine it with machine learning, like maybe data science with machine learning is a better option. But yeah, I'm not a CS student, so don't take my word. Take my word with a grain of salt.
I hope that answers your question. And now I'd like to ask you, this has been running in my mind ever since the session started, and I would like to ask you, what advice would you give to students who are currently pursuing, BA economics?
Mhm. So economics is like, it has been for me like kind of a lens to view the world. For some people, it's like a bad lens to view the world because they're looking at things in terms of like cost and benefit and like opportunity cost and like,
Yeah.
and just like non-human concepts. Like, you're looking at people as like Homo economicus rather than like Homo sapiens. So some people don't like that aspect of economics. But for me, it has definitely been a way to like view the world in a different light, a way to like learn how to problem solve. It has also been like, in economics, like I'm currently working on like on Seni. My thesis is on like immigration economics, right? So when we think about immigration, like especially in America, it's always about like law, like concerning border, like politics, political science, but like uh, economics, science, it can be used to study immigration as well, right? There's so much in immigration that can be done with economics, and that stands true for like every other sector in our life. So when I was working in the Ministry in the team of the Ministry in the Ministry of Education, I used my skills from like मेरो जुन data skillsहरू थियो that I had learned in my econometrics courses. I used that to like look at big data that the ministry had to like solve problems basically in Nepal, right? So you can do a lot with a degree in economics. I would think of like it as like, yeah, basically like think of economics as like a way to solve problems, as like a way to view the world in a different light. Um, and like use economic thinking to like, tackle problems in society, in politics. And I'm not sure about Nepal ma kasari economics ma padhai huncha, but like US ma say there is a lot of theory, but it's also about a lot of like application of that theory, not necessarily like applying to daily life, but in the sense that, if we're talking about solo growth model, uh, the question just won't be like, did I solo growth model bhanna kaile pani सक्दैन, right? Here, it will be more about like, they will ask you something else, like solo growth model cha, and the earthquake boy, when what happens to like the total capital, what happens to the steady state capital, right? Solo growth model, so like sudden population decline by due to like COVID, like like I don't know, like 2% of the population was wiped out. What happens to the steady state capital, right? So that's how the questions are on. So I would also like focus like in that direction, like I'm saying, how is this applicable to daily life? And yeah.
Okay, so you're speaking about this in the context of Nepal or generally?
Well, about economics, I think it's the same everywhere. So generally, I think of economics as a way to view the world, as a way to problem solve. It's an important tool that you have because you learn about data, you learn about theory, you learn about like concept about opportunity cost concept that we can use it in our daily life, right? Like that you learn in economics. So yeah, just think of it as like subject, course, degree, like skill, problem solving. I think you'll open yourself to more opportunities.
Yeah. While we were speaking, we had one more question. In Nepal, direct PhD is not allowed, I think. First, we have to join MPhil here in Nepal. Is it possible? Yeah. Okay, I think is it possible there we have to join MPhil-like programs?
No. मेरो साथी चाहिँ, the one I was talking about, who got into Harvard a year before me, ऊ र म चाहिँ 4 देखि 10 सम्म we studied together in Gandaki boarding school. 11, 12 ko लागि चाहिँ he went to the UK. He came to Harvard. He graduated with a degree in applied math in economics and physics 2 years ago. He's going to University of Chicago for PhD in economics in September. So he did his bachelor's. He worked as a research assistant for a professor for 2 years. And now he's directly going to his PhD in University of Chicago. So you don't need anything in the US. You don't need to, but he had like a strong, because he studied applied math, उसको mathematical background is strong थियो. Physics पढेको भएर his analytical skills, his problem solving, they're like top notch. And because he had worked with like a professor as a research assistant, he research कस्तो हुन्छ भनेर पनि. So those are the things that I think that mattered for him to get into U Chicago for his PhD in like economics and social policy. So no MPhil required.
All right, I think that answers your question. If there's any more question that you would like to, I think we've exceeded our 1 hour time limit. So I'd like to wrap this up if we don't have any questions any further. But even if we do have questions, I think Nabin sir will link his email where everybody can reach out to him in case they have questions. If you can type your email in the chat box, that'll be helpful for people.
Sure. It might take me some time to get back to you, but I'll try to get back with the resources as much as I can. My email should be in the chat now. Well, thank you very much for coming to this session. Thank you to the moderators for inviting me. I'll let you conclude the session.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. It was so wonderful chatting with you about your work experience, about your academic journey, and how you came about joining BA in economics. And how did you land in Harvard University and all of that. I think it was insightful for everybody who joined. We had 31 participants, and that's a big number. We had 31 participants in such a long time at Ednep. So I think this session, I think the number of participants speaks for itself that this session was very interactive. And very good presentation, and very glad to have known you. And we hope to do this kind of sessions again in the future. And we hope to meet you again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you.